Bruins Islanders. I am one pissed off Boston fan right now. You don't want to get me mad. You don't want to get me mad, but I'm mad, dude. I'm mad. I'm mad. Dude. The Islanders beat the Bruins in 6 games and will be facing the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals for the second year in a row, by the way. This is a rematch of last year. And I think it's going to be a little bit better, but I'll get to that in a minute. Okay? I'm a little bit salty. I'm a little bit upset. So let's just get to the stats before I blow my head off, okay? My head's going nuts, dude. Like, I watched this game, and I'm like, this team is done. This team is done. Like, I drove myself crazy, dude. But let's get to the stats, okay? I'll start off with the New York Islanders. Gene Gabriel Pegu, he had himself 2 goals and 4 assists. Brock Nelson had 3 goals and an assist. Kyle Palmieri had 4 goals and 2 assists. Casey Sidikas, he also had himself 2 goals and he had an assist. Matthew Barzal had himself 3 goals and 3 assists. And Island Sorokin only played 1 game, Mario. He played game 1. He had 35 out of 39 saves. Well, he saved 35 out of 39 shots, which is a save percentage of 89. And throughout the rest of the series, Mario, Samoan Valimov, he took over for him. He played games 3 through 6. And overall, both goalies had saved 204 out of 220 shots, which is a save percentage of 92, which is really good, Mario. Now let me go to the Bruins, okay? David Pastrnak, he came in clutch for us as usual, like we expect. He had 5 goals and 4 assists. Brad Marchand had 5 goals and 4 assists. David Krejci had 2 goals and 5 assists. Patrice Bergeron had himself a goal and 3 assists, and Charlie McAvoy had a goal and 6 assists. So overall, Mario, the Bruins offense was doing really good. You know what I mean? They were actually doing what they needed to do. If you look at the offensive stat sheet, Mario, you look at it, a lot of people could say the Bruins had them on offense. Tuukka Rask played the entire series except in Game 5. He got taken out of the game. But overall, Mario, Tuukka Rask throughout the entire series saved 148 out of 165 shots, which is a save percentage of 89. And in Game 5, Jeremy Swayman, he took over in like the last few minutes of the third quarter. Tuukka Rask ended up coming out of that game in Game 5. And he saved 2 out of 3, which is a save percentage of 66. Here's the deal, okay, Mario? You really want to know what went wrong for the Bruins? Defense. That's it. That's all I gotta say. Here's the thing, okay? They had a match on offense. That's a fact. You look at these offensive stats, Mario, and the Bruins had the numbers. Some people can even say that they were even better on offense. But here's the deal, okay, Mario? I don't want to blame it on the refs, okay? Because while the refs were pretty terrible in the series, I'm not gonna blame it on them. Because at the end of the day, you still have a job to do. And if you're gonna worry about the refs, that's just gonna drive you away from your job. So I'm not gonna blame it on the refs, okay? Defense did not do their job. That's just that. You gave them too many opportunities. It's something you weren't supposed to do. That's just what happened. Offensively, I had no problem with this team. They were doing really good on offense except for those last couple of games. But, well, actually, Game 4 and 6, they weren't that great on offense. But every other game, Mario, they weren't that bad. You know what I mean? Tuukka Rask, he was good in the beginning, but then he kind of had that slippery slope at the end. And one thing that I should mention in Game 6, Tuukka Rask did not play with 100% health, which is probably another reason why we ended up losing Game 6. Here's the deal, okay, Mario? I always say it. You need to play at full strength. All right, I love Tuukka Rask, all right? I really do. And I get the sacrifice that he made for his team, but you can't go out there at 100% in a game that's so critical. You can't go out there when you're not 100%. That's just the facts. You know what I mean? Now I get what you're thinking. Don't take a chance with Jeremy Swayman because he hasn't played that much in this postseason. I understand that. But would you rather do that, knowing that he's full on healthy, or put a guy out there that isn't? You see where I'm getting at? So again, I honestly think defense is a big problem with this team, and just overall game plan, Mario. Game execution just wasn't that great for them. They had great game plan. I'll give them that. They didn't execute it perfectly, and that's why they lost the series. Had that been the case, I think we would be having a different conversation. I'll point out some pros because, again, not everything was bad for the Bruins. They had a really great offense, which is something that we expect out of the Bruins. But 4 out of 6 games, Mario, the Bruins led with shots on goals, and they led 3 games in faceoff percentage, which was Game 1, 5, and 6. They had 7 out of 15 power plays, and the cons is 5 out of 6 games they were out hit, which is another thing. They weren't capitalizing on those hits. In 4 out of 6 games, Mario, the Bruins led in penalty minutes, which again was another issue for them. And then 2 out of 6 games they led in takeaways. So here's the thing, okay? Again, that points to my point. Defense just wasn't that great for them, But another thing that really killed them is penalty minutes. Now I know what you're gonna say. The refs were terrible this series. They definitely were, but there were some calls that were pretty fair. I'll say that, okay? But there were some pretty fair calls, but there were some pretty bad calls as well. So again, like I said, I'm not gonna blame it on the refs. That's not what I'm gonna do. Okay. Again, offense was doing good. 7 out of 15 power plays. Is that the best? No, but at least they were doing relatively decent on those power plays. So now here's the question. Okay, what comes next for the Bruins? Honestly, Mario, there's a couple things you need to do. Okay, Tuukka Rask is heading into free agency. You need to extend him. I think the Bruins need to extend Tuukka Rask. A lot of people are saying it's time to move on. I don't think so because it's going to be very, very difficult to try and replace Tuukka Rask. Tuukka Rask replaced Tim Thomas over a decade ago. And those are some pretty tough shoes to fill. And he did it. Even though he hasn't won a Stanley Cup, he's been there a couple of times, and he's proven time and again that he's one of the best goalies in the game. So it's going to be very, very difficult to replace Tuukka Rask. And you could bring up that point, Tuukka Rask filled in the shoes of Tim Thomas. We remember how great Tim Thomas was for the Boston Bruins, and in general, he was a really great goaltender. But I think this time it's going to be a little different. It's a little bit tougher in these days. And another guy you need to extend or bring back to the team is David Krejci. He's also going into free agency. You need to grab that man. But other than that, Mario, and one more thing, because Taylor Hall says he wants to stay in Boston, extend him. Those are the 3 things I want you to do. Bring back Tuukka Rask and David Krejci and extend Taylor Hall. Other than that, despite this loss, Mario, this Bruins team is still a Stanley Cup contender. I will stay true to that. They usually always are. But the problem is they keep getting in their own damn way. They need to stop doing that. We should have won that Stanley Cup a couple of years ago. You know why we didn't? Because we got in our own damn way. We could have went a deep run last year. You know why it didn't happen? Because we got in our own damn way. We could have went even further this year. But you know why it didn't happen? Because we got in our own damn way. That's just what it is. The Bruins need to stop getting in their own way. Because you look at this team, Mario, they have everything you possibly need to win a Stanley Cup. They just haven't done it. So those 3 things, get better on defense. Other than that, Mario, there's really not a lot to say about the Boston Bruins. As for the New York Islanders, I gotta give them credit for credit is due. They played a really good series. They're gonna face the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals for a second year in a row. I'll make my prediction right now. Okay. Last year I went to 6 games. I think it's gonna go to 7 games. I'll take Lightning at 7. I think this is going to be a really good series. But I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Islanders go to the Stanley Cup. They're a really good team this year, Mario. Definitely a team a lot of teams underestimated. They beat the Penguins. Now they beat the Boston Bruins. I think right here is going to be the toughest challenge for them. They have to face the Tampa Bay Lightning again. And I think this is going to be a really good series to watch. Obviously on the Lightning, you got Steven Stamkos, you got Kucherov, you got Braden Point, and you got Andrei Vasilevsky doing his thing. And this Islanders team, they can definitely match with that. You got Josh Bailey, even though he didn't really do that much in this series. You still got him. You got Kyle Palmieri. He's done a really good job, Mario. Brock Nelson, he's done a really good job. Samoan Valmarov, he's done a really good job as well at the goaltending spot. So the Islanders definitely have what it takes to face off against the Lightning and give them a tough time. But at the end of the day, I still got the Lightning winning in 7 games. I think they're going to go back to the Stanley Cup. So with that being said, Mario, to the Boston Bruins, best of luck to you guys in the offseason. Again, it's back to the drawing board, so I'm just upset that our season ended the way it did, but it is what it is. I'm still a Bruins fan to the day I die. As for the New York Islanders, congratulations to you guys and best of luck to you guys against the Lightning.
Yeah, Nate, first of all, I'm going to be honest with you. I think I know where the Bruins went wrong, and I think you're missing the whole picture here, okay? Don't get me wrong, okay? Now, I'm going to go to these stats for a second, okay? David Pastrnak, 5 goals, 4 assists. Brandon Marchand, 5 goals, 4 assists, which Brandon Marchand I'll get to in a minute. David Krejci, he had 2 goals and 5 assists. The point is, these are good stats, Nate, okay? Here's what they did wrong, okay? They picked and choose when they wanted to show up. You can't do that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to prove it. Look, let's go to David Pasternak now for a second. All right. I'll use him as an example. All right. I'm going to point to game. I'm going to point to June 7th. Okay. He had 2 goals, 1 assist, and that was a total of 3 points. Good stats. All right. Right. I say those are good stats. Where were you June 3rd when you had 0 goals, 0 assists, and 0 points? Let's go to the part where the next games, all you had was 1 assist. This is what I'm talking about. They picked and choose the times they wanted to show up.
That's
Now,
what I mean by when I say they got in their own damn way.
right, but
That's what I mean when I say that.
these offensive stats, though, they're very, very deceiving because the point is they got good. They had games where they were just on fire, but then there were other games where they didn't show up. That's why the offensive stats look as good as they did. Brandon Marchand, I said I'll get to him in a minute because he's an exception out of everybody else on this team. Brad Marchand was absolutely incredible. Okay, there was one
It's
game
such a
that
damn.
was
It's such a damn shame that we went out the way we did. He was doing amazing.
right. But here's the thing: one guy ain't gonna do it. Okay, and you got offensive stars. They need to show up every single day, which is something that somebody called the Lightning are doing. They are showing up every single day. Kucherov, Stamkos, and Brandon Point are getting involved every single game. Why do you think nobody stopped them yet? Because they get involved every single game. In the games that they didn't win, the 3-headed monster didn't get involved. Same thing we hear. First of all, Brad Marchand did an absolutely amazing job. He had at least a goal in almost every game besides the one on June 5th. He had an assist in 3 out of, I want to say the 6 games. But let me tell you something, Nate. Okay, Brad Marchand was an exception. But then you go to guys like, but then you go to guys such as, I'm trying to find him real quick. You go to guys such as David Krejci, and David Krejci, another one, perfect example. First two, May 31st and June 3rd, didn't have points or assists. He ended up picking it up on June 5th and June 7th. He had a goal. He had 2 goals because he had a goal in each game, and then he had 2 assists in the next game. So he did good towards the end. But the point is this: the Bruins didn't offensively. They were not consistent. Okay, there were games where they were on fire, and then there were games where they were just flat out cold. That's why the stats look as so deceiving as they are, because that's exactly what happened. Now, again, I look at the Islanders, Nate, and again, the Islanders. I don't think they're any. I don't think they're any more. What do you call it? I don't think their stats are any more lopsided than what you would call. I mean, one guy I could really point to that did an amazing job is Jean-Gabriel Pageau. He had well, even him, not really, because May 31st he had a goal, June 5th he had a goal, and then you look at the other 3 games, he didn't have a goal, but he had 2 assists on June 9th. So overall, offense was all messy around. I think both teams. I think that you can't really point to that one guy. I mean, I pointed to Marchand. You can't point to that one guy who was on his game every single game. You know what I'm saying? There were guys who had good games in this series and then had poor games, but that's all it was. It wasn't consistent. So now you ask what's next for the Bruins. Here's what I say, okay? I agree with you. Extend Tuukka Rask because it's going to be hard to find a guy like that. Okay, David Krejci, I agree. Extend him. Taylor Hall, let him go. Here's the reason why. I'm going to tell you, let Taylor Hall go for this reason only. Bruins need to stack up on defense quick. Now, you guys got good defenders, but the problem is, here's what I always said, okay? I always said this. The Bruins don't have those, like, they got good defenders, but they don't got those big dudes. I think the loss of Chara, I think that really did affect that defense. Okay, now a lot of people could say Chara was pushing age, he wasn't as good as he was, and that's true. But the problem is, his size and his fear factor is something that it's really going to be hard to find. I say this. I say the Bruins need to get better, a couple more good defenders to make this team a better defensive team. Because you could be good offensively all you like, and they have shown it. They've shown games where they were good offensively. But if you don't have defenders to go guard those guys who are like premier scorers in the league, like for instance, Ovechkin, he's a good player. If you were to suppose the Bruins were to go to the next round, right? I'm going to be honest with you. I can't see your defense stopping that 3-headed monster and Victor Hedman. I can't see it happening because there's not enough defense to go around. And that's what I'm focusing on as the Bruins. I am getting more defenders, and I'm turning this team into a defensive monster to stop these scorers like Stamkos, to stop these guys like Kucherov, to stop these guys like Ovechkin, like Crosby. Like this is my point I'm trying to make. And that's something that I just don't think the Bruins did a great job with. I mean, obviously, you read the stats. They were out hit. They weren't the aggressors. Oh wait, yeah, they were out hit. They weren't the aggressors. I mean, 5 out of 6 games they were out hit. Another thing though too, Nate, is Another thing though too is they basically 4 out of 6 of the games that they played, they led in penalty minutes. Now regardless, a lot of them were like 8 to 10 or like 6 to 8. But the problem is with that, it doesn't matter. Those 2 minutes are very crucial. Why? Because most likely in those penalty minutes, you got a guy in the box for 2 minutes, and that's 2 minutes for the Islanders to capitalize on. That's something I just feel like the Bruins haven't been doing well. So if I'm the Bruins, yes, extend Tuukka Rask. He's proven himself. Extend David Krejci. Let's see where this goes. Taylor Hall, I'm letting go. And it's nothing against Taylor Hall. Good player, okay? But when it came to these playoffs, he didn't. This series, he didn't show up. His regular season stats, like they've been decent, but they haven't been too great. All right. And overall, the number one thing that I think the Bruins need to focus on is defense. Because I think they need better defenders to compete with these offensive monsters. You could have all the offense you want, but if you look at what the Lightning do, not only do they have a good offense, but they have a defense to equal it out. They got a good defense to stop certain guys on the other team's opposing offense. That's what makes the Lightning so good. Okay, but the Bruins don't have that. You did good against the Capitals. Okay, did the Capitals have like offensive monsters this year? No. The Islanders, they were pretty deep. They were good offensively too. But the difference is, even if the Bruins were to go on and face the Lightning, I don't think they win. I think it's a 5-game series because that defense, I do not think could stop that offensive monster. That's what I think they need to focus on, getting a defense that can match them offensively. But you know what, Nate? Regardless, though, I do wish the Bruins the best of luck in the offseason. As for the Islanders, again, congratulations to them on making it to the next round. To the Islanders, let me tell you something. Nate Varlamov did an amazing job. I got to give him a lot of credit. He did an amazing job, and I expected that from Varlamov. Varlamov did a great job in the series against the God. I forgot who they played. Oh, the Penguins. My bad. He did a great job against the Penguins as well. Now he's going to have to be on his A game because he's going up against Andrei Vasilevsky, who I've said it many, many times is one of the elite goalies in this game. So he's going to have to be on his A game. If he's on his A game, this is definitely, I think, going to be a 7-game series, And not only that, the Islanders are proven like time and time again that they got guys that can really step up and put on games when they need to. But I say this, I think the Islanders need to be a little more, I think the Islanders too, offensively, I think they could be a little more consistent, And the other thing though too is the number one factor that I'm going to point to, Nate, is defense. The Islanders defense has to be on their A game because if you're going to go up against Stamkos, if you're going to go up against Kucherov, you're going to go up against Point, if you're going to go up against Victor Hedman, you got to be on your A game. If not, then they're going to do the same thing to you that they've been doing to the other teams, and that's just in beating the brakes off them. So with that being said, though, if I had to make a prediction, I'm probably going to go Tampa. I'm going to agree with you. I think I'm going to go Tampa in 7. Okay, I expect Varlamov to have a good game. I expect this defense to be very aggressive. If those two things happen and everybody's healthy, I think this game could go to 7 games. But at the end of the day, it's going to be really hard to stop that 3-headed monster, plus Victor Hedman, plus Cirelli. It's going to be very, very tough. And Andrei Vasilevsky is a tough guy to break. He's a tough guy to score on anyway. So it's going to be a tough game for them. But at the end of the day, I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win in 7. But this is going to be a great series. I can already see it. All right. I think both teams, they're not evenly matched, but I think the Islanders can definitely hold their own against the Tampa Bay Lightning for as long as they could until that 7th game when the Lightning take it over. But regardless, I wish the New York Islanders the best of luck in the Eastern Conference Finals. As for the Boston Bruins, again, it's back to the drawing board. Good luck in the offseason. Personally, I think defense is definitely a big need for them that I think they're going to have to fill in this offseason. But again, we'll see what happens throughout time. And with that being said, I wish the Islanders the best of luck.